Okay, it's now 8:37, and I call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. First order of business, public input. Hearing no public input, let's move to correspondence. There's no correspondence. So let's move to the approval of minutes from January 13th. Has everyone seen the minutes? All in favor? Aye. The motion carries. Now we're on to approval of the commercial shellfish license applications. You should have in front of you a list of the applicants.
Out loud. They were on in your email.
Okay.
So George, because you are one of the applicants.
Oh, I must recuse myself.
Yes. And then I will read the list of applicants that you guys received in your email yesterday from me. It's George Davis, Chris Littlefield, Charlie Gale, James Nelson, Joe Fallon, John Grant, and John Swenton. So someone that isn't George has to make a motion to approve. Perfect. Perfect.
Call for a vote. I know. All in favor. Sorry. All in favor. Aye.
Perfect. All right. All good. Moving forward.
Next order of business is officer nominations and elections. We have to do this yearly per requirement of the town.
Any discussion?
Aye.
I guess I can vote on this. I don't know. Aye. Anyway, motion passes. Thank you very much.
You're the chair. Who's the second?
Jonathan's vice chair. All right, we're on to report of the harbor master.
Yes.
I know there's a couple other things that we want to get going. Have one good applicant so far for the shellfish warden job for the summertime. I'll be reaching out to her today and hopefully setting up an interview at the end of March just to confirm and see if we're a good fit for what she's expecting also. We're still looking for another. Do a couple. Yep. Do you feel that you're not getting a volume of resumes that you would like, or just not getting qualified? Do you feel that you're not getting what you need? No, I think we are. Oh, so there's so many portals that you can go through. Word of mouth. Yeah. There's a portal called Handshake, and that goes out to universities, and we've got a bunch of hits, but I don't think that they're what we're looking for. So we're getting people. It's just not what I know. Like Jimmy just got like 50 applicants for I don't know, like 2 intern jobs. So I would imagine he's ever looking for that. Would likely be good. So I've put out to both the chief, Bimmy, the Nature Conservancy, that if they think that they have a candidate that might be better fit for us. I'm also not necessarily looking for someone who's science-based. I'm looking more for enforcement-based. Yep. Okay, got it. So The skiff needs some engine work. I think we got water in our gasoline. So I'm just waiting for a warmer day to go down and fix that so we can do water testing. We weren't able to do water testing this past month. And that's about all I have right now. Unless
Okay.
somebody has something they want to ask.
Are we going to talk to Malcolm Bohm later in the,
I hope so. I sent him the link.
okay.
And Rob is joining us.
Well, we can talk about that when he joins. Well, why don't I go into a report from the chair? Oh, okay. Malcolm, you might.
Malcolm?
I see Robert and oh, why am I waving that
There he is.
direction? Okay. I was just wanting to ask you, and I related to the report from the harbor master about work on the upweller or ideas for that and timing.
So, I did a queue of other community upwellers and I found massoyster.org, and they have about half a dozen, if not more, community-based upwellers along the coast that are run by volunteers, and they're land-based. So, are you not hearing me? Okay.
It should be good.
So they sent me the schematics and I have a budget for it, and I'm working with to get the proper permit to put it on the dock at the Coast Guard station. So it's all in the works. I hope to have it up and running and ready for seed by the beginning of June, if not the middle of June.
Harbor Master, this is when we fit into the dock, like when they need us to go on top, so you don't need to do any dock work.
It's going to go on the ramp. I'm going to level out a section of the ramp. And we're planning for 16 5-gallon buckets. So it's going to be a lot easier for us to pick up and clean, and it'll be right there. We have the water source, we have the electricity right there. The plumber, the electrician are ready to go. I just have to get the proper permits for it.
Fantastic. Will Malcolm be involved directly in any of this?
He can be if he wants to.
I hope so. That would be great.
Okay.
We do a project with the town of Warren, Rhode Island, that has an oyster upweller. To my knowledge, that's the only municipality in the state of Rhode Island that has a nursery system permitted to that town. So it may be the case we can send you the CRMC permit so you can cross-reference that if you'd like.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's great news. Thank you. Your mic. Since we're streaming.
How many people are you looking to have volunteer for this?
I'm planning on having my staff help. It's going to be right there when we're hanging out, waiting for a call. When the wardens aren't out working, you are certainly welcome to come down. I'd like to see how it's run and how fouled it really gets and the maintenance on it. The gentleman that sent me the schematics, he's also in charge of the volunteer program. So he said he's more than willing to talk to me about any issues that they've had, that they've run into. So I guess we'll see when.
Very good. Any other questions for the harbor master?
And just to note, we still have that permit for the other upweller, that I could move it back to Bimmy, but it's just so cumbersome, and but we haven't lost that space for it. So if somebody else wants to take over, there is another location that they could.
Very good. Excuse me. Thank you, Malcolm. If nothing else, I'll move on to report of the chair. And in that regard, I'm very pleased to have Rob Holmberg on the call, because part of my report is to tell you about how the Quahog Broodstock Initiative is going. And so far, it isn't going as well as we'd like, but we have a plan going forward. Rob, would you like to explain to them what has or hasn't happened, and what our next steps, which I think is providing you with another broodstock? Thanks.
Sure thing. Thanks, George. So we took delivery of about 80 clams earlier in January, and they were transported by ferry to Point Judith. We picked them up, brought them back to campus, set them up in conditioning. So conditioning is the phase where we take broodstock out of the ocean and then gradually acclimate them to a warmer temperature while pumping them full of high quality food to hopefully develop their gonads enough so they're nice and ripe and ready for spawning in the hatchery. Unfortunately, the clams that we have are being awfully stubborn. They're not eating the food that we're giving them. They're not expelling any waste. They're just not doing anything. So only a small portion of them are even sticking their siphons out, which means that only a small portion are eating anything at all. So it's been about 3 weeks now. By now, we should be more than halfway through the conditioning phase, and they should be consuming dozens of liters of our algae a day, and they're just not clearing it. So unfortunately, that means we just have to move on to another group of broodstock. And I've spoken with George about collecting more clams for this project. I also offered our assistance in harvesting them if needed. And we're happy to travel to the island and help out in any way we can. But we're hoping that a new set of clams will be more cooperative in the hatchery and give us a spawn, whereas it seems like this first group will not.
Thank you. And I know you've said that you do not believe any harm was created to the clams in the transport process, which was good to hear.
No, I don't think so. Like I said, they arrived in great condition. You know, by all accounts, when we received them, they seemed like they'd be a capable group of broodstock. But they're just not cooperating. And this happens sometimes in the hatchery, and the only thing we can do is move on to another set of clams.
Is there a time by which you have to have another set of clams to give you the time you need to condition them, spawn them, before the summer and grow seed?
Yep. So the sooner the better. There's no hard deadline, but the conditioning phase takes about 5 weeks. And we generally have better luck with spawning earlier in the season. So the sooner we can get a new set, the sooner we can get them conditioning, and the sooner we can spawn them. But we're conscientious of the fact that this is dependent on things like the tide and any ice that you might have in the Great Salt Pond at the moment. So I know that there are environmental factors like that that we have to work around.
Jonathan has a question.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jonathan, quick question. So, without knowing anything about this, I don't know if biologically you understand why this group would do it, but would it suggest, from a planning standpoint, that the new group be taken from a different location, is there something different that should be planned for the next group to hopefully have different results?
Yeah, great question. So we're not sure why biologically they're not cooperating, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to try a different location. Initially, the Shellfish Commission sampled from 3 different sites around the salt pond for us, and we submitted those for pathology testing to the Aquatic Diagnostic Lab at Roger Williams. They came back free of the diseases that we test for, which are QPX and hemocytic neoplasia. There were 2 clams from one site that had parasitic worms in them. And so after getting the report back, we initially requested that the collection of the broodstock clams came from the other 2 locations that did not have worms. But at this point, it might be worth trying the 3rd location, which I believe was Mosquito Beach. George can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I'm less concerned about worms than I am with QPX and neoplasia, but those pathogens do not appear to be an issue in your salt pond.
I'm looking ahead at possible harvest times, and we've got good low tides the rest of this week, but perhaps better is there good low tides next week as well, with somewhat higher temperatures and light wind on Monday forecast. Low tide around 1:30. And there is a boat leaving Block Island at 6:30 on Monday. So it is quite possible to harvest that afternoon and get them off island that evening. That may not fit with your schedule to have someone pick them up. It might fit with someone coming down and harvesting with us. Perhaps there's some expertise you can offer when you see the clams we're harvesting as to, I'm not sure what you can tell from that situation, but you're certainly welcome. We'd love for you to come and see what we're harvesting and what the conditions look like, if that might give you some additional insight.
Yeah, thank you. So I should be available on Monday, but I'll discuss it with Malcolm and also Kim, who's my hatchery technician. And we can figure out if it'll be possible for us to make it down there. It's certainly possible for me to pick them up on Monday. That's no problem. As for, evaluating their quality during harvesting, from the outside, there was no evidence that these clams would be a problem, but the best thing we can do on site is open a few and see how they look inside.
Good point.
One of the 4 clams from this group that we opened when we were trying to diagnose the issue appeared to be unhealthy. The tissue was very yellow, even neon yellow in some places. There was no gonad, which is not surprising at this time of year. But also the mantle was receded pretty far. Having said that, the other 3 clams that we opened appeared to be totally fine. So we submitted 2 of those for testing by our on-staff aquavet, who has expertise in histology. So she's going to take a look at them and see if she can suss out what might be the problem.
Okay, very good. Anyone have comments about a potential harvest this coming Monday?
George, if I may,
Certainly.
I noticed that in terms of the tide charts looking forward, the 18th, 19th, and 20th, that'd be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, are exceptionally low tides. And I would be more than happy to bring a pair of waders and a rake over and join you, during the harvest, if that's a possibility. And then I could just, bring them back upon my return. But I think that would be worth looking at date wise, 18th, 19th, 20th, as there is quite a low tide.
Okay. Well, certainly in your offer to come over, either one or both of you is really, really nice.
Those days are better boat days also.
Yeah, I was looking at, of course, the wind forecast is pretty dicey, you don't know. Right, Thursday has a 6 o'clock boat as well.
Well, and for them to come over also to join.
Or, right. Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, yeah. Well, is there we won't know the wind really until it happens, but strong southwest wind doesn't help. But nothing looks crazy next week compared to what
Yeah.
we've been through. So maybe you decide what day looks best for you guys, for one or both, depending on how you want to do it. Is there a difference from your perspective, Katie and Kate?
No difference for us. Yeah, Thursday's a good boat day. Could you repeat? I might have missed the time of the low tide for those 3 days.
So on the 18th, it would be half a foot below average at 2:06 p.m.
It'll be probably 2:30 here.
Okay. I'm getting this from New Shoreham, Block Island.
Right.
And then Friday,
We
it's-
had 20 minutes for New Harbor.
oh, all right. Good to know. 3:04 p.m. on Friday, it's 0.6 below average, which is about as low as you might see all year. I was wondering as well, is there an issue with ice within the Great Salt Pond in terms of accessing these locations?
Not right now. No.
Not next week for sure.
Wow. Mount Hope Bay is quite frozen. But
Yeah,
that's
we
good
won't
to
have-
know.
Yeah, we won't have that problem, especially at Mosquito Beach, because that's a higher energy spot if you're getting southwest winds. So, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that'll be open. Right. And really, when you clam there, you don't even have to go in very deep water. But extra low tide will only help for those of us that have leaks in their waders. So we'll look at Thursday then. Was that it, or Wednesday? Thursday because of the boat.
Thursday or Friday, if that's going to be the lowest tide, that's also a good option. But my vote is also the warmest day.
Well, Friday it is, but the last boat's at 4, and that's about low tide.
Okay.
Try for Thursday.
So it's going to have to be Thursday. Great. So
That's a good question.
yes,
I think we collected from 2 sites. Were you able to tell which site was more cooperative? Were the more cooperative clams from one or the other, or was it mixed?
So in terms of conditioning, it's pretty mixed. We have the 3 different sites separated into 3 different cages, and each of them has a small proportion of clams that are sticking their siphons out.
Thanks.
But the vast majority across the board are not.
Thanks.
Okay, so the plan is next Thursday. We'll see you, you'll come on the 11:30 boat leaving Point Judith, and then go back on the 6 o'clock boat. Does that sound acceptable?
Yeah, and it just so happens that I don't teach on Thursdays, so that enables me to come down there myself.
Very good. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it and appreciate your help and counseling on this project and your skills. We need it. Thank you.
Thank you, George. It's a setback, but we're committed to providing you guys with high quality seed this spring.
Any other questions for Rob or Malcolm while we have them?
George, just a quick question. Is there a particular size that you're looking for?
As large as we can get. Isn't that correct?
Yep.
Rob?
If you can get us clams that are roughly baseball sized, they seem to work well. The biggest limiting factor when it comes to spawning is the number of eggs we can get out of the females. And the bigger they are, the more likely they are to have larger gonads with more eggs.
Thank you. We look forward to next Thursday, and we'll probably be in communication before then with any logistics. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much. And Malcolm, I'll send you the schematics.
Awesome. Yeah. I'd love to help in any way with that nursery too.
Thank you to Roger Williams. Moving on, in my report was an update on our soft shell farm plots, test plots at Andy's Way. And unfortunately, I have to report that the storms we've had, especially the first storm with a lot of the wind and ice, have really done some damage to our plots. And I have pictures here, all the stakes that we had delineating the area, except for one, came out with the storm and the ice. I've got them pretty much pulled together. We haven't lost them, but they're no longer in place. Most of the nets are still in place, but almost all of them have suffered at least a little bit of loosening, or parts of the nets may have come up, but the bulk of the nets themselves are still in place where we've buried them. I've been in communication with Roxanne about this. She could not join us. That's Roxanne Banker of Providence College, who's working with us on this project. She could not join us in the call because she's teaching a class right now. But the plan is when she comes out next month, we will work on reestablishing those nets, and they will continue with their well, and in the meantime, they'll continue with their analysis of what we found in our recruitment boxes, which they can't give us the count right now, as they realize there's more than one species in those recruitment boxes, and the person doing the counting was assuming they were all Maya arenaria, and they certainly are not. A lot of them are the gem clams that we get. So, but I'd like her to talk to that, but she will not be able to join us on this call. So we'll get her input directly as soon as we can.
George, can I ask, the stakes that you saw that had come undone, are there pieces of the stakes still in the mud around the plots?
snapped off or?
Right, right, I understand. Many came up entirely.
Okay,
A few have snapped off.
yeah. We just,
So you've got a little both going on, but most, well, most, I didn't do I didn't do an analysis, but 50% were full anyway.
We have replacements ready to go.
Excellent.
When it-
Well, the main thing will be just
Not
rebearing the
completely.
edges of the nets. One net was totally gone, but that had already been loosened before. The rest, just parts of them came up. And given the cold weather, we don't expect a lot of crab activity right now, not to mention it would be absolutely miserable to try to be out there reburying those nets. So we'll get to that in a few weeks.
thank you.
Lastly, is simply that the main Fisherman's Forum is coming up once again this year, March 5th through 7th. I'd encourage anyone who has interest. It's free, but of course, getting up there and spending the night usually has some expense. If you do that, I think we can probably cover that in our budget because it is worthwhile for the information you get and the contacts you make. The day that's important to be there is Thursday, March 5th, which is their Shellfish Focus Day. And there will be a presentation on the soft shell clam monitoring network, what they do to study their soft shell clam population in Maine, and also their green crab initiatives. Both subjects are near and dear to our heart. So it's a good folks to communicate with and learn from. And I never fail to mention that Thursday night shellfish dinner is it'll cost you $50 a head, but it's well worth it.
So George had sent me the itinerary for that. So there's packets that are printed out if you didn't grab one.
We just need one of those forums down here, gentlemen, from Roger Williams. What do you think? Or do we have one and I'm just ignorant of it?
A fisherman's forum?
Yeah, something like that for us to go to.
Nothing that I'm aware of. I've presented at the one in Maine myself, and it's a really great meeting. And DEI is doing fantastic work with their recruitment monitoring network.
Well, now we just have to get more of that down here, but I know you used to work with them, so that's a great reference. Thank you. Next is talk about the rewrite of the shellfish ordinance. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct.
What we have from the town solicitor, it basically cleans up the ordinance along the lines we discussed. There was one mistake in there that Kate, I think you can maybe point to it faster than me or Katie.
Yeah, it was in
Just
the
a minor
table.
thing, just like a typo.
Under 9140, under the oyster, he separated the oyster and scallop in season table for amounts. It has commercial, taxpayer, and seasonal columns. He still has in-season scallops listed as 2 bushels because I assume because he was looking at the state regulations. So that should be none. And then for commercial, and then taxpayer or resident, it should be 8 quarts instead of those 2 bushels. But that's just a minor oversight.
So under 3, commercial scallops in season is not 2 bushels, it's 8 quarts there as well? No.
So commercial should be none and 8 courts for taxpayers and residents
Okay.
because we don't have commercial base scalloping.
Got it. Looking back, I found one other thing that I had forgotten about. This goes back to 9-138, small Roman numeral 4, off-season license. I do get confused on these dates as well, but I think it should be, instead of Labor Day, it should be the Saturday preceding Memorial Day for an off-season license.
Yes.
That would basically mean it almost, yeah. So it's the Saturday preceding Memorial Day, not the Saturday preceding Labor Day. So I would make a motion that with those two modifications, that we accept this rewrite of our ordinance to go forward to the town council. We've been counseled that putting in language directly saying non-resident cannot base gallop, it will not be passed is not legal or recommended by the town solicitor and would not be approved by the town council as such.
Not that it wouldn't be approved, but you're gonna have a really tough time with getting their support.
Okay,
Amy,
fair enough,
Amy
fair
was
enough.
going to join us today. She had a family emergency. So I would like you to approve as is. And if you want to continue the conversation about the resident, non-resident scallop issue, then you can do that. But I would really recommend that you approve what is in front of you today.
And let me clarify, by resident, non-resident, it's Block Island resident and non-resident. The new rewrite does support Rhode Island residents, so we'll at least be the same as the state legislation, if that makes sense. So a little bit of an improvement, but still things for you
Well,
to
and I,
discuss after the fact.
yeah, and I wasn't clear because that happens often in this discussion. The language the language we're changing, if you will, it was just the language where limits weren't agreeing with practices and and some of the season dates weren't accurate. We're correcting those, but to a large degree, we're going back to the original ordinance. The original ordinance, the way it's written with seasonal licenses, automatically does not give the ability for people that don't have taxpayer/resident status to base gallop, with the exception of being Rhode Island residents. They have that ability and they always have. So we're really kind of going back to the more conservative approach that we've had before. Did I make that more confusing than ever or make it straighter?
It is what it is, George.
So
Don't speak.
the motion is to approve the rewrite that we have in front of us with those two modifications, that one limit modification and the one month modification, season. So do I hear a second? Or I guess maybe I'd have one of you make the motion rather than me.
Well, we put the discussion of putting a license cap.
There was a note, I'm just looking for it. There was a note because in the ordinance, in the original ordinance, there was a little paragraph that talked about the Shellfish Commission being able to come up with a cap on the number of licenses that can be sold. And I don't know if that's something you guys want to discuss now. I printed out numbers from our license sales from 2020 to 2025 that we've talked about before, just so that you guys have it for review. I'm just looking for that.
Yeah. I know.
Amy had mentioned it.
It looks like it's under 9-138, number 2. So it's on the same page as the off-season license that we were just describing.
Joe, in the rewrite, I see it under 9-138.
That's right.
7-2. Yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah.
7-2, right. That's what threw me off. Now, I'm not aware that we ever established a cap in previous years.
There has
haven't-
not been.
Okay, just wanted to make sure everyone understands. We've
don't
never
think
had a cap
anyone-
before.
I think this was an old thing that kind of got lost over the years.
And along those lines, I know Jonathan pointed out something that is worth mentioning. I'm going to mention it here, Jonathan, if I can. In 2025, the licenses sold, the number is double what it was the previous years. Based on this, yet the revenue wasn't double. But the main thing is just the licenses sold seem way out of whack with previous years. And the reason why that's important now is now we're talking about setting caps. And so I think that's a question to address. Do you want to look into that before we come up with a number, or do you understand why that happened? Is it a software issue? Something changed? I don't know.
I mean, it could, our program is always known to be a little bit difficult. But so every license we sold was exported into an Excel file. And we were noticeably busier in the shack.
I would like to take a look at this number.
Yeah.
Almost double if you maybe there's duplicates or something.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that top number.
We did have somebody clean our system this fall, as in they deleted some of the older, if people hadn't gotten a license in
That wouldn't have changed that.
3 years, but I have an old copy from before they did any
Yeah.
work. So I have an older, basically, version of the system we have now before they started changing things. So I can go back into that and look and double check. But to be aware that there is the possibility of setting a cap, it's something that we could discuss moving forward. We don't necessarily have to choose a number right now.
We've got questions from the audience. Joe?
Yes.
So this would be a cap. Joe wanted to know if this is for recreational licenses, and the answer is yes.
Right, this is going weekly, monthly, seasonal, so this is recreational.
Good question, though. Bill, you had a question? Oh. Okay. Well, it seems like we probably should get a handle on that number before we discuss what the cap would be. I'm not against setting a cap, but I would tend to set it pretty high.
Yeah.
That also gives us another avenue, for a population management as needed, is just cap it at some point. But we should have a better understanding of what that demand really
Something that
is.
Jeannie had pointed out to me, and in all my years of working with the department, I've never heard of a cap, but it's getting busier and busier out there, and there has to be some point
Right,
that we call it.
right. And we can look to some of the specialists that work with us at the other universities to maybe if they've looked into things like this before too, and how they find that it impacts the population. So do we want to talk about this more? Okay. Okay. Oh, we haven't
Yeah,
voted on that yet.
yeah, your motion, if you want to finish making that before.
I think we should finish that motion and we'll table talking about a cap for now.
Rewrite with the, a couple of years.
Do I hear a second? Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan, for bringing that up.
No, it was you who seconded that?
It was.
Oh, it was Jim. Okay, I couldn't tell. Thank you.
This is huge, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Katie put a lot of work into it.
She did. Thank you both. Thank you, Katie. I think that's it. Other than we'll be in touch about the schedule for next Thursday for harvesting. Any other thoughts before I call for an adjournment? Okay, well then, may I hear a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Of course. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Okay.